Hello and welcome to the Bay Field Revolution podcast. We're here to recap game week 8 of the Premier League. I'm joined by Jumpy, who is eagerly waiting for Boris Johnson's announcement, and JT, who is also waiting for Boris Johnson's announcement for some reason. What's up, guys?
JT's bought a new mic. JT दिखा mic दिखा.
माइक सबके पास है कोई टेंशन
What's that mic सबके पास? So JT's got a new mic, so he's going to sound a lot better today. And a super exciting game week as usual with a lot of disappointing results. And yeah, it'll be fun to review it. But before we start anything and before I let JT speak with his new mic, a call out to Alok Pandey, who has got all of the answers wrong, who keeps watching the podcast. And congratulations, Alok.
Correct.
All the answers correct. Congratulations, Alok. Your support means a lot to us, and keep answering. If you get to that 100 points or at least answer 10 questions right, we'll definitely send you something as a token, but that gives us a lot of motivation. Thank you so much.
Okay, with that, let's start recap. Starting with a great match, Brighton versus Burnley, which ended in a 0-0 draw. The best part of that was that Lamptey gave us 6 points in there.
6 points. Lamptey gave 6 points. A lot of people had the Brighton goalkeeper. What's his name?
Nick Pope.
Yeah, Nick Pope is a Burnley.
Burnley.
Ryan.
So lots of points for defensive points for that game, but that game was a shocker wherein Brighton dominated the game. They had so many chances, just couldn't finish it. I think they're lacking that killer instinct. They're playing really well. I think Graham Potter has gotten them to play a nice brand of football, but Burnley, celebrate कर रहे थे 0-0 draw यार. Like पता नहीं. Sean Dyche is a genius. ऐसे football खिला के he'll somehow manage to get into the top 10. He's done it 3 seasons. Yeah, Burnley have been in the top 10. So kudos to him. But like, he's just the antithesis of what Pep, Klopp, Bielsa stand for, and everything that's known as beautiful football. He's exactly the opposite. But kudos to him. He doesn't change his style either. He has resources and he's using them wisely. But it's just bad to watch. So,
For a season, Burnley, they haven't won any match yet, right? 8 matches. They're yet to win. One of the 3 teams who haven't won a match yet.
But last season it was very similar, where they started off horrendously in the bottom 3, and they finished top 10. So they have these really strong. Towards the end of the season, they get really strong, and they eke out results 1-0. I was going to say 1.5-0. There's no such thing. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. They'll eke out results and they'll finish in the top 10. But that's proving to be sustainable. So who am I to hold a grudge against Sean Dyche, the Ginger Mourinho? But just don't like seeing them play football.
Okay, and the next one is Southampton versus Newcastle. Southampton again. Now they were actually top of the table at that point of time when they won the match.
When they tweeted "Stop the count."
When they tweeted "Stop the count." So they won 2-0 against Newcastle.
Really looking like a top 6 contender, aren't they?
But they're playing very well right now, but their midfield is clicking. They did not miss Dannings. Che Adams played really well, and he's actually playing really well alongside Danny Ings. He actually had a very good expected goal in the first few matches, although he did not open his scoring then. He had a very good expected goal.
And then you took him out from your FPL side and he started scoring.
Yeah. but then as Champies mentioned time and again, they are a team that have been playing really exciting football, and it's just showing.
The magic is in the fact that it's the same group of players who looked so ordinary, right? Like just a season back, and now he's just transformed them, and that's again testament to the importance of ideology and having a manager with an ideology in a football club. And he's already being linked to the Chelsea job and the United job. They're saying he do a better job than Ole and Lampard. But kudos to him. Like Che Adams was on fire. That finish was top draw. Theo Walcott assisting, and that finish was top draw on the half volley. Insane finish, and they dominated. Like Newcastle didn't get a single clear-cut opportunity to score. So it was phenomenal. What a performance. Will they be able to continue this throughout the season? Questionable. Because it hinges on a couple of key players. I think Oriol Romeu has become so important to the system that they play because he's the one dominating that midfield. With James Ward-Prowse, underrated max in the Premier League. And like they have Bertrand, they have got Kyle Walker-Peters, who is proving to be a revelation this season. He's becoming the Nathaniel Klein-Bertrand combination that Pochettino have had. So they're playing really well. They're playing really, really well. And I'm really excited to see where they'll go.
The next match is United versus Everton. We were hoping that something Everton will do. All three of us wanted Everton to win, but then again, under pressure, and it's Ole turning into Sir Alex Ferguson.
Prime Alex.
Prime Ferguson.
If you watch that game, neither team played well. Everton looked so lost all of a sudden, like without Richarlison, they look so lost. They divide off pace. Bernard doesn't give them any pace whatsoever. He scored a good goal, but he doesn't give them any pace whatsoever. They've got very static midfielders like Ala and Doucouré. They were so static in the match against United. And the best player in that game was the veteran Seamus Coleman, who we haven't really talked about with all the glitzy performance from the likes of James, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But he had the best game. And United didn't play well. Like they literally scored 3 good goals. And the last one I don't think should be counted because against the run of play, Cavani almost offside. It was a good pass, but the game effectively ended 2-1 with 2 decent goals that they scored. But like Everton, like how do these teams get lost all of a sudden? I don't get it. Like the same team was playing so well. Not a good game to watch. Kudos to United. Thankfully they won. Now Ole won't be sacked for another season. And we'll have a lot of colourful episodes. But yeah, I just don't know what happens to these. They suddenly find form and then they fall off. And now it looks like all of the people we were praising are looking like, mistake buys. And I hope this is also temporary. I love Ancelotti. But just didn't look coherent.
And Everton, they've now lost 3 matches in a row. So definitely a very poor run of form for them. United actually dominated the midfield against Everton. The likes of Allen and Doucouré weren't able to dominate the midfield against the likes of Fred and McTominay. So definitely United somehow, again, like we've talked about earlier, they've just pulled out another result. Their form has been so erratic. They just win a match when Ole is under pressure. He's about to get sacked. And then they have a run of poor games wherein they lose to teams like Istanbul. So it's just ridiculous. They really need to get a good run of wins under them. And they're not very far behind in the points table. When you see that, they're not very far behind. So if they get a good run of wins under their belt, they'll again be amongst the top teams in the Premier League.
Absolutely. Call out to Fred. I think he's had the best game he's had ever since joining United. Had a phenomenal game.
And something like that happened to Leeds United. They actually played well, but then ended up losing the match 4-1.
I mean, they're playing well, right? They're playing the most beautiful football in the Premier League. But that is what is causing their downfall. And it's interesting now. Does he still stick with this? You can't press every team, right? Or can you? I think that's going to be the question Bielsa needs to answer. He had it easy in the Championship. Now he's up against the likes of Leicester, Crystal Palace, probably the 2 best counter-attacking teams in the league. And he'll come up against the likes of City, who he decimated, but he'll come back again. And the likes of Liverpool again. And he'll have to face these teams again. Does he change? Does he tweak after 2 4-1 defeats? They're not comprehensive defeats. They were the better team. But their defensive lapses are just too much. It'll be interesting to see what the crazy one does. Does he stay crazy or does he tweak?
It's difficult to see Bielsa change his style of play, but then there has to be some technical changes that he needs to make in order to prevent all the counter-attacking goals that they've been letting in.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what Bielsa does now.
But I think it's also because the people who are performing are not looking slightly out of position in the last two games. Like players like Harrison, like who was on fire in the first couple of games, they've become so selfish. And while they're playing good football, the lack of Kevin Phillips means
Yeah, exactly.
going directly from defense to attack, which is not what Leeds is about. They build up play, and Phillips does all of it. The new player Struik,
Right.
he's not being able to do that. So it's almost as if they're either right or left. There's no link up. So it's so predictable, and he's really missing Kevin Phillips. But
Exactly.
goes to Crystal Palace, Willie Zaha, untouchable throughout the game. And Eze, did you see his
That free kick.
Oh, poof! But I think super unlucky Leeds. If Bamford, ridiculous that offside. What is happening to this offside?
I know.
Like he was pointing to where he wanted the ball, and because his shoulder was offside, and you can technically score a goal from using your shoulder. It's ridiculous. Such a good goal, beautifully. Not because he's in my FPL team, but legit good goal. I'm so pissed off, and I don't want Bielsa to change, but I'm scared that if he keeps playing this, teams will figure him out.
But
And
yeah,
Lampard has figured out his side, actually, I think. Finally, the formation is working. And Hakeem Ziyech is right now the best midfielder in the league.
Don't jinx him. Don't. Billy G was Ballon d'Or contender. Don't jinx him.
but right now everything seems to be clicking for Chelsea right now. All of their not all, but most of their signings have been working out really well for them. It's just Kai Havertz who we need to find out which position he's best at. But apart from him, I think but apart from that, Werner, Ziyech, Thiago Silva, all of them have been just brilliant. And Ziyech, that guy is just creating goals just for fun. It's just brilliant.
I told you with that diagonal that he cuts in, and that diagonal ball, it's what Arjen Robben used to do.
Arjen Robben, yeah.
No one could stop him. It's what Messi does. No one can stop him. And he seems to be of that same mold. You know what he's going to do. But he does it, and he does it effectively. Brilliant. Great performance by Chelsea. Beautiful to watch.
Then what about West Ham versus Fulham?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about.
Just the penalty thing. Like, look when
the last
the
second,
audacity to
they had a
use a
they had
penalty.
Lookman had a last second penalty to get a point for Fulham. He tried a Panenka and just screwed it all up.
Have you ever seen a Panenka that close to the bar? Like, a Panenka is right down the middle, and his Panenka was towards the right of the goalkeeper, and he just saved it. But like, he'll be trolled, but I feel bad for him. He's a good player, Ademola Lookman. That wasn't the right decision to make. You don't Panenka last second of a game.
And that's a point loss for Fulham. Come end of the season, they may very well be paying, high price for losing that point. Exactly. They'll be one of the teams that are in the relegation battle. So it's a very costly point loss for them.
And then a typical Mourinho win. Like some Harry Kane.
What he wants, man. They are the worst team in the Premier League. Like, how is he winning? Like, it's what Sheffield United did last season, and they won those one. It's not sustainable. I don't think Harry Kane has to drop back. Like, he's playing as a defensive midfielder almost. Like, what is Mourinho doing? There's no. I mean, even if he wins the league, this will be the shittiest, even by his standards. Like, I haven't seen a team so incoherent. It's so frustrating to watch. Like, Son had one of the worst games I've seen him have. The only one who seems to be having good games every game is Højbjerg. What a player. Like, he is the one making sure things stick. Everyone is Bale. Like, what is Bale doing? Like, he's a shadow of... To be honest, I think the best...
It will take time.
It'll take time. The best player was Sergio Reguilon. I think I really like him. Really. He's matching Chilwell. I think they're the two best left backs in the Premier League right now. But sad. Like, I feel really sad. Like, this won't sustain. He's done it before, but will it sustain? I don't think it will sustain. He needs to find a way to to have these players gel. It can't be ad hoc every game.
And their next match is against City, I think. No?
They're just winning. They all of their wins have been really, really lucky goals. I mean, it's not that they've played really well to win the matches. It's just scrappy goals or really lucky goals that they've gotten in to win the matches. Right, as Champy said, I
Worst
really
part
don't
is,
think it's sustainable, and they have really tough fixtures coming up. I really doubt they'll be able to keep winning this way.
and the worst part is that 0-0 against West Brom, who is bottom of the table. There is no urgency. It's almost as if they're happy to keep the clean sheet. And Mourinho is happy to take the clean sheet instead of going for a win. Like, it was a lucky goal. It shouldn't have been conceded. I think West Brom should have won the game 3-0. Like, should have dominated the game completely, end to end.
And West Ham were dominating against Spurs for surprisingly, they were actually dominating against Spurs. They created quite a few chances against the Spurs side.
Quite a few. They hit the bar, which was almost a goal. They dominated. They had more effective position that Spurs had, and there was no like. Yes, I can keep going on, but the point is that he will be found out at some point of time. You can't win a Premier League playing like this, or can you? I don't know. If he does, then it's the Mourinho of the old. But I just don't see him sustaining this.
Leicester are top of the table right now. They won 1-0 against Wolves.
Lucky. Not a penalty.
Wolves like attacked in the second half a lot, but
Not a penalty.
Fofana stopped them.
Fofana, what a player. But unlucky. I don't think it was a penalty. I just think it's so weird these days. Football has become so inconsistent. Referees have become so inconsistent. Like, how is one a penalty and one is not? I just don't get it, but it wasn't a penalty. I think it was a lucky win for Leicester. They eked it out. Wolves were the dominant side. At least in the second half they were. They deserved a point, as we discussed. But Leicester have found a way. They found a way. And they're top of the table again. We know what happened last time.
But yeah, as every good team does, right? They've managed to get a win against a really good side, and that is all that matters right now. Getting a win against a good side, you get the 3 points. Doesn't matter if you played really well or if you played really bad. It doesn't matter. Once you get the 3 points, that is it. You can move on to the next match, and Leicester is going to play good football. They have a manager. They have a philosophy, so they're going to stick to it.
Exactly.
And the next match is where the philosophy all came in, like Klopp and Pep, attack after attack. There was no difference in the first half.
Right? It's what we always talk about is two of the best teams playing against each other, and not an iota of fear in any of those two teams, right? Like, especially Klopp to go with a 4-4-2, and it was not even a 4-4-2. It was a 4-2-4.
Yeah.
Like, kudos to these two tactical geniuses. Like, I don't care if they lose or win. They are the ones who make football the sport that it is. And kudos to them for sticking to their philosophies. And the first half was like, I don't remember. Like, it's difficult to even remember watching matches like these, right? Where there's just, I think Leeds City was one such game, and kudos to these managers. Like, they just, and even without players fit and playing not full strength and tired players, you could see it in the second half. The performance levels dropped. The players were so tired. But
in second half, the performance was almost cautious, right? Both of them didn't want to lose that point, so they settled in for a draw. But first half, what a game! It was very open. Both of them attacked each other. Could have been anyone's game. Just brilliant.
That Bergkamp touch by Jesus.
Oh, beautiful. And 90% of me believes that it was a fluke. Because I am also a striker and I end up doing these things. But like, brilliant, like really good finish. And I think that turn by Mane, to completely destroy Kyle Walker's career and have Roy Keane say that this guy is an idiot and he doesn't know how to play. Sadio Mane, I think Jota had an off game. I didn't like the way Jota played, and Firmino looks out of form. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't know what the length of the injury is going to be, but another great talent. But I mean, you can't have a fixture list like this and expect top performances throughout. People will get injuries, and especially soft muscles, soft tissue injuries. So I fear for the league and I fear for football as a whole. But it was a spectacle. At least the first half was one of the best I've ever seen.
Then the next match, which we all thought that Arsenal will actually comfortably win, but Aston Villa, Ross Barkley and Grealish were showboating in the opposition's box. They were showboating there. And they won 3-0.
JT again, top 6, defend it.
8
There's
matches
no
played,
way
GT, 4 wins and 4 losses. Defend.
there's there's just no way to defend that performance they had against Aston Villa. It was it's unlucky that Partey got injured and had to be taken off, but then really bad performance. Auba's performance has dropped drastically. They really need Auba to start performing in order for the team to perform, because I think Auba is one of the top players, and the team is probably built around him. So if he doesn't score goals for them, they have very few other goal scorers. So if he stops scoring, the goals dry up for them. So that is one thing that definitely needs to improve. But
He
horrible performance.
It's Arteta's fault and his biggest strength, right? He has set up the team to defend these days. It's almost like that. Like, solid team, build your foundations in defense, and then whatever you can scrape and attack, that's fine. And that's not suited Auba's game, who relies on a lot of freedom, which the previous coaches used to give him. But now, because it's so rigid tactically, and it wavers, like if they play a good team, they look a good side. If they play a poor team, no offense to Aston Villa, but they're slightly below the level of a City or a Manchester United. Maybe not now, but it just seems to be like they have figured out a way to play against the better teams, but they're struggling against the smaller teams. They're eking out wins, and kudos to Aston Villa. Like Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley, Ollie Watkins, like they ran the show. And the interesting fact is, this season Martinez has more clean sheets in Emirates than Leno does, and so another vindication for people who've picked him in the fantasy league, but like shocking from Arsenal.
And a really good sign, right, for the team that actually had a really good transfer window. So it
Exactly.
shows you the importance of having a good transfer window, right? If you
And
get
keeping your
in the
players.
right players,
And keeping Jack Grealish.
yeah, very important.
Fair play to Aston Villa.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. We will soon be discussing the Indian Super League and Indian football during the international break. And that's what this channel is all about, actually. So we will be discussing that. Thank you so much for coming.